So I'll start off with the introduction. Hello to everyone. Welcome to this webinar. As we said, in Telerik, we have been doing this, Telerik Asia region, we have been doing this webinars every Thursday, almost 3 to 4 p.m., just 1 hour of, very specific Telerik-oriented area that we take. Today, we are happy to talk about a very fantastic product that we have. We call it as Sitefinity, which is a content management system. And just to introduce ourselves, I have with me Greg. His full name is Grisha Karnikolau, but we call him Greg. He's a sales engineer on the Sitefinity team. His email is greg@telerik.com. My name is Lohit GN. I work as developer evangelist. I pretty much are based out of Bangalore. I take care of South India, so mostly if you're in Bangalore, you would know me very well because I keep going and then talking in all the local community events. My email ID is lohit.nagaraj@telerik.com. So we too are the hosts for the day. As I said, remember, be active, be participant. We still have 2 Telerik.net Ninja t-shirts to give away. Both Greg and myself will be going through who's more active, who's asking more questions, and then we'll pick 2 random people. So just be there from starting till end and then ask questions. So that's about ourselves. We quickly will now run through a little bit of history of Telerik for those of you who haven't heard Telerik or who have heard Telerik but don't know the history. So maybe we'll look at, where we are, what we do, kind of things.
Okay. Yeah, Lohit, you are able to change the slides, so just, yep. Right.
So Telerik at a glance, we are a leading vendor of productivity solutions. We streamline the software development process from idea generation to delivery. We were established in 2002, so it's pretty much 11 years or 12 years in the industry now. And we have around 12 global offices, around 750 people, meaning we are, as Telerik, we are 750 people. We have more than 70,000 loyal customers. We have won numerous awards. As you can see in the world map, the pins that you see are the places where we have our offices. So we have our office in India in Gurgaon. That's where our India headquarters is. And we have offices in Sydney, Munich, London, all over, pretty much all over the US. Sofia is our headquarters. Our motto is deliver more than expected. So this is a little bit of Telerik as a company. Next, we're going to look at, pretty much what we do. We are an end-to-end provider. We provide solutions for all aspects of software development. We were known for just the tools, but we have pretty much, taken a wide, breadth, and we are now pretty much everywhere of the software development lifecycle. We have tools for planning where you do requirements gathering, project management, defect management, team and customer collaboration. We do have, we are of course there in the construction phase, meaning we give you multi-platform UI tools, code quality performance tools, data access and reporting tools. Last but not the least, in testing, we have an automated functional performance, UI, unit testing, load testing, exploratory testing. So that's why I said we are an end-to-end solution provider now, not just the controls manufacturer company. So that's about what we do. Next, we're going to look at our portfolio because I want to give more time to Greg, so I'm just running through this so that if you know what we do. We are pretty much 4 divisions covering key parts of the development life cycle. Remember, I talked something about planning, so we have a product called as Team Pulse, which helps you do agile project management. On the building phase, that is the developer tools, you name it technology in .NET, we have controls for that particular technology. For example, Ajax, MVC, WinForms, Windows Phone, Windows 8, WPF controls, Silverlight, and also we have individual developer productivity tools. We call it as Just series, Just Mark, Just Code, Just Decompile, and Just Trace. On the testing side, we have Test Studio, which can do pretty much any sort of testing on web applications. We currently support WPF applications. We still don't support the WinForms or anything. We will be slowly coming over there. Plus, we also have iOS testing. We have a Test Studio for iOS, which can be installed on the device itself, and you can test another app running on the device. So that's a pretty interesting, area. Not but the least, we have a web presence platform, meaning it can give you a complete site within just a minute, no matter of hours. With just some clicks and everything, you will get a completely up and running content management site, or you can quickly put up a site. So that's Sitefinity CMS. That's what we're going to be talking today, and that's where Greg is going to kind of fill us in as to what exactly is Sitefinity, how we do it, what is it, all those things. That's it from my side for a quick glance of Telerik. Now, Greg, over to you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Lahiv. That was a great intro. And guys, let's step into Sitefinity. And I already noticed some questions about what Sitefinity is and how is it different from other CMSs. Well, I'm going to demonstrate, not only talk about it, and you're going to see yourselves in just a second. Now, I'm going to just start with a slight intro. So Sitefinity is a web content management platform, and it's I would regard it as a platform really because it's really open and it's really easily extensible. We are different from other CMSs in two aspects. First, for developers. Us developers, we always need something to be a little bit more productive, a little bit more efficient. We want to save time and we want to deliver amazing results in a short period. This is exactly what Sitefinity is good for because it does not include, or it's not based on some new or some proprietary technology or some really close code kind of source that we need to get acquainted to just yet. It's based on .NET platform and it's entirely .NET driven. So if you know how to create custom ASP.NET widgets, user controls, and so on and so forth, you already know how to work with Sitefinity. It's based on .NET functionalities and technologies such as Windows RESTful, WCF web services, Windows Workflow Foundation, and so on. So if you know how to code in .NET, you already know how to code in Sitefinity because it's the same. And I'll be able to show you that at some point during today's webinar. For business users, it's extremely focused on usability. So business users, that's one great challenge. Usually they find it really tough to adopt an existing CMS because of the strange terms and weird architecture of the CMS. You have quite a lot of different terms that typically confuse business users. What we did is we tried to create the easiest to use CMS out there. Everything is based on drag and drop. Everything is really easy to understand and to manage, and you'll see that in just a second. But as you can see, there are a lot of big names behind us already that chose Sitefinity just because of those two aspects of the platform. You have Coca-Cola, you have AT&T, you have Chevron, Danone, you have Shell, Tetley, and so on and so forth, Nestle. Aston Martin recently launched their website on Sitefinity. We have BBC working on Sitefinity as well. So all those guys chose Sitefinity because their developers found it really easy to extend the system, and in just maybe half the time they were expecting them to take the development, half that time was needed for them to get exactly where they wanted to go and exceed their expectations. That's exactly the Telerik's motto. And their business users, they couldn't believe that it's so easy to use the system because everything is drag and drop. Right. For all of you who want more websites, you can take a look at sitefinity.com. We have a showcase gallery and we have more than 2,400 different websites just showcased over there. In general, we are powering more than 10,000 commercial websites worldwide, and we have a really huge network of partners, quite a lot of different case studies that you can review on our website. Okay, enough with those slides. No more death by PowerPoint today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump straight into Sitefinity. What you're seeing right here is a sample website that we have created for demonstrating Sitefinity's capabilities. We will be using this website today to demonstrate what features Sitefinity has, how it can be used, and how it can be extended. Well, if that looks good, then you haven't seen the rest of it. So let me just go quickly through some functionality that is built in. There are things like events module, different contact us, in different other user interaction forms like this one. There are things like news modules, download listings, blogs, forums, e-commerce, lists that allow you to create FAQ-like interfaces, different, just static content, as well as direct integration with Google Maps. That all comes out of the box. You don't have to move a finger in order to create any of these, because those functionalities come out of the box. Now, let's go ahead and see how that website was actually created. I'm going to go into the backend, and in order to do that, I have to type /Sitefinity there at the end of my URL, and I'm taken to the dashboard. Now, this dashboard is, again, completely customizable. So you can choose what you want to have in there. By default, it does contain some introductory videos that can help you quickly hit the ground running with the different functionalities that Sitefinity has. But let's take a look. This navigation, it's really clean and intuitive, and it's really self-explanatory. Everything is permissions driven, so you can choose who has access to what sections of Sitefinity. For example, marketing guys would probably want to have more access to different analytics and personalization. And those are tools that come built into Sitefinity. We have analytics, and we have the ability to personalize content and to target specific content to different audiences, different user segments. Administration contains all the options for you to manage all the users and roles that you can manage through Sitefinity, and those can also be connected to your local Active Directory and pull users from there. Once again, Sitefinity is based on standard ASP.NET, and it's using the ASP.NET membership and role providers. So if you already have a CRM and if you need to pull user information from there, you can use the standard .NET membership providers to connect to your existing data repositories. Permissions, this is where you control the permissions for your users and the groups they belong to. You can control search and specify what should be available for searching with the built-in search engine. You can define permission approval workflows straight from Sitefinity. You can even create custom modules through the UI. This is something that I'll be showing you today. One big addition that we added with the latest version of Sitefinity, Sitefinity 6, you can now generate even mobile applications to distribute to your clients, and they can use their cell phones and hybrid mobile applications that they can install on there to connect to Sitefinity. All right. Let's move on. Somebody asked for SharePoint, and we do have connector for SharePoint already built into the system, as well as we have integration with different cloud services. The design section is something that probably your designers and developers would want to have access to. This is where you can create and manage your different page templates, which, by the way, are based on standard master pages and CSS. And we have resources demonstrating how you can convert any HTML, CSS template into a Sitefinity template. We also have built-in mobile and responsive design capabilities. So you are able to define how the website would be restyled and how it should fit into mobile device screens. This is something that I will demonstrate again during the presentation. E-commerce is built in. Email campaigns are built in, and you can target your users and send out email campaigns to your subscribers. And those two are the essence of the CMS. We have the content section and the pages section. And typically, those are self-explanatory. The content section contains all the different modules or self-contained applications that you use to create content and manage that content within Sitefinity, and manage different types of content. For example, if you would like to manage news, or blogs, if you'd like to upload images and arrange those into different libraries. If you'd like to upload videos, documents, or other files, you'd be using those different modules to create those content items and manage those in there. The best thing is that you create the content items in one place, in one of those modules, and then if you'd like to display those content items like news articles or blogs on any number of web pages, that's absolutely possible. You control the content from one place, you can display it on 10,000 pages, and one change in here would change all those 10,000 pages. I'm just catching glimpses of different questions. So Lohit, you can use the questions box to answer questions here and there. I will include some of the answers in my presentation. So yes, we are recording the presentation and we'll be able to provide it afterwards. And yes, we could add other than the building content types straight away. Now, the pages section is the place that you typically would be using to create pages, to edit existing pages, rearrange your pages, and so on. Now, let me give you a quick demonstration of that. Let's go to the front end really quickly, and let's take a look at, for example, the store locator section. Okay, this page, its URL is quantumsitefinity.com, our website, /store locator. This is where this page is located. Now let's take a look at the pages section. As we can see, it is this section displays our whole site structure with the pages and subpages and so on and so forth. Our store locator here is at the last position. But let's say Lohith, as my supervisor and supreme manager, he calls me and says, "Hey Greg, you have mistaken the place for this store locator. It should be under About Us. So could you change that?" And here's what happens. I'll just bookmark it really quickly so that I have that URL bookmarked. And typically with other CMSs that would involve some coding, but here with Sitefinity, all I have to do is just take that page, move it under About Us, and our store locator is now moved under the About Us section. So all I have to do now is just refresh my page. You can see that the store locator disappeared. It's here under About Us, and it took me just a few seconds to drag and drop that page to a different location to rearrange my navigation. And the guys that are interested in marketing and SEO, they would ask, well, what happens with people that have bookmarked this page? And what happens with search engines that they have indexed the URL? Well, here's what happens. If I try opening that bookmark that I opened a couple of seconds ago, you see that I am automatically redirected to the new location of this store locator page. How does that happen? Well, Sitefinity would automatically track what we are doing in the backend, and in case we have moved a content item or page, it would automatically create a search engine friendly 301 redirect, which would force our users that have bookmarked the page to be taken to the new location, and it will force search engines to change their indexes, to update their entries, and to index the new location of that page. Hopefully that's clear enough. So let's move ahead. Let's quickly go and see how a web page is constructed. Now, what I'm going to do is, typically, if I need to create a new page, pretty naturally, I'm going into the Pages section, clicking on the button Create a Page, and I am taken through a really easy to use wizard which asks me targeted questions. Now, what's the name of my page? This is my new landing page. As you can see, while I'm creating the name, my URL is automatically generated. It consists of full words. It doesn't have any extensions. It doesn't have any random character strings. It's full words only. I can change that to anything I want. And I can do this just as easily. Now, I can choose where this page should be located, at the top level along with these guys here, or if it should be under a parent page somewhere. I'll just put it at the top level for now. I can choose if the page should be displayed in the navigation or not, and if the page should be used just for grouping of other pages like those guys here. Alright, now quickly, as marketing people and search engine experts would probably be happy to see that we have complete control over title, description, and keywords metadata. So you can control those straight from here. You don't have to edit the code itself. Now, the templates, you can choose which template you'd like to base this page on. Those templates are, some of those could be built in, some of those are custom, and they are based on master pages and CSS. So you can convert any HTML CSS page into a Sitefinity template, and we can provide you resources for that. It's really easy and it will take you just a few minutes. Now, I'll just create this page and start adding content to it. Now, we get the template to load in here, and that's where our header and footer elements came from. They were built into the template. Now, in order to create a new page, typically you might want to have some custom layout. For example, some left columns, right columns with different containers and so on. Typically with other CMSs, you would need a designer to do that for you with CSS, not with Sitefinity. You have the layout builder, and if I do that, if I select that layout builder, I am able to start drag and dropping different layout blocks on my screen right there, and this would define the layout of my page. And as you can see, if I click edit, I can resize those different boxes, those div elements, so that I can choose what sizes they should have. I can specify their width. I can include different spaces everywhere, on top, to the left or right, to the bottom, and so on. In this case, I'll just increase the space between those two different columns. I'll just make it 20 pixels, and now this space increased. And we can assign different classes. Those are standard CSS classes. As you know, as I mentioned, those are div elements. So imagine this as just being a div class equals something. You can just add it right in here. And now this column 1 has LowHIP as an additional CSS class. Just clicking I'm done. One more thing that I would like to mention in here, you can nest elements within each other so you can achieve virtually any layout of your choice. We'll stick to this one for now, and we'll go to the content mode. Now let's go ahead and take a look what we have in there. We have a toolbox with different widgets. Those widgets are standard .NET controls. That means that if you need a custom widgets to be added in here, this is something that you would be able to do easily. Now let's go ahead and use those widgets within our page. So I'll take the image widget, drag and drop it in this box that we created, click on it, and now we are able to display images, to upload images from our own website, or take images that have already been uploaded and stored into different libraries. This is exactly a demonstration of how you can reuse content on your pages. Let me just go to the backend again. Here under content we have the images module, and this is where we store our images, which are arranged into different libraries. So if we would like to upload an image, we can easily do that from here and choose which library the image should go into. So now if we go here, this is where all those images come from. They are stored in the images module. We can use the widget to display those images in our page. So if I'm looking for a specific one, like for example a logo, I can easily use that search box to search through our libraries, choose the logo I'd like to use, and plug it in here. In this case, I'll use an image from my own computer. I'll take this one. I will select a library that I'd like the image to be uploaded into. Actually, I'm going to create a new library. I'm going to call it Sitefinity India Images. And I can choose if it should be at the top level or it should be under a parent library. In this case, I'll choose the no parent option. I'll create this library, then choose it, and upload my image in there. And that's it. I have the image. Now I can change it right from my browser if I need to. So if I need to rotate the image, if I need to crop or cut or resize the image a little bit, I can easily do that straight away. I can just crop it so that I would cut some of the white space, save the image. I can change its title and alternative text, which are again vital for search engines and visually impaired people and accessibility. I can do that straight away. So I can change the default image size, the one that would come up on my page, and I can include margins and so on. In this case, I'll just save the image, and that's how easily I just uploaded the image and plugged it into my page. Anybody can do this. It's so easy and so user-friendly that's why people choose Sitefinity straight away. Okay, let's move ahead. I'll just take a content block widget, which is our what you see is what you get editor. I'll drag and drop it in this page. Click on that, and this pulls out our what you see is what you get editor. This is the red editor, one of the earliest television controls with the longest history. And this is the control that has been used by Microsoft in the MSDN library, and it's also the alternative editor for Sharepoint. So as you can see, Microsoft uses Telerik products heavily as well. I'll just take some content from Word, copy and paste that content straight in here. And as you can see, my content got pasted with the formatting preserved. Like heading 2 tags are preserved, normal paragraphs are preserved, and bulleted lists are preserved as well. And if we take a look at the source code, we have pure HTML. It's flawless. It doesn't have any annoying MSO tags. It's absolutely validated and W3C standardized, so we won't have any problems neither with the validation of this page nor with search engines. All right, so let me just show you a couple of things. We have some tools enabled from which you can control those text, that text like bold, italics, different lists like numbered or bulleted. Then again, you have more formatting options. So as you can see, you can choose and you can between all those different tools to be used right in your CMS. You can choose exactly which tools are included in this ribbon. And one other thing that I wanted to show you is I'm just going to create some text, call it a button. I would just select it and make it heading 3, for example. If we take a look at the HTML, there's just H3 tags surrounding my text. Then I'll select it. And one eye candy for designers, if I drop down this list here, I see different styles that our designers have pre-created for us. I can just take one of those styles, apply it over to my text, and as you can see, that just applies a new class that was predefined by our designers to this content. And in a really straightforward and absolutely designer best practice way, we have styled this text to make it a button. This is how it looks. If I save this text, I'm just plugging it into my page and that's it. Alright, let's move on. I will now quickly drag and drop some more widgets which would pull content from our existing modules. So you can now understand the logic of it. You have widgets which display content from the different modules that we have in Sitefinity. So I'm taking an image gallery, drag and dropping it here, and we have a list of images that this image gallery displays. Now I can click edit and I can filter exactly which content items or which images that image gallery should display. I can choose images from a specific image library, for example this one, and I can further narrow the selection by different categories, tags, dates, or a combination if we have applied those to our different content items. So this is how we can choose exactly which content items would appear on our page. I'll just do that and I'll check some more settings. Now I would like my images to appear as thumbnail lists, and whenever I click on one, they should pop up with lightbox effect. So I just change that way of representation, save it, and this is our image library right there in our page. Let's quickly go ahead. I'm going to take an events widget, drag and drop it here. It pulls a list of events. Those events are stored in our events module. Next, I'll take a list of news. Just drag and drop a news widget here. It pulls a list of news items. One other thing that is important for you guys, you can absolutely control the appearance of each of those widgets. Why is that? Well, that's because they're absolutely template driven. Now, you can click edit. You can, of course, filter the news items and all other widgets, what content they should represent there. I'll just select the announcement news to be listed in here. And under list settings, as you can see, you have options for the template of that widget. Now it displays just titles, dates, and this comments link. I can change that to titles, dates, and full content, titles, dates, and summaries, and so on and so forth. If I want to do that, I just select the template, and I have even further options. I can edit the template right into my browser, right there, which exposes the ASCII code right in here, and I can make changes in there. Or I can do that through Visual Studio. Now, as you can see, I changed this template. Now it includes my summaries, so that's why the behavior of this widget changed. So let's preview how this page would look on the front end. This is the page that we were able to create in just a matter of few seconds by just drag and dropping different widgets and configuring these. So now, as you can see, this is the behavior of that content on my website. However, what happens if we access this website on a mobile device? There is quite a lot of content, and I don't think it would fit on the screen of a mobile device. So let's take a look at that. We have the option to preview the page through smartphones and tablets. And here is how it works. Remember those different layout blocks that we drag and drop? We have capability to change their behavior. It's done through responsive and mobile design. If we go here, we can create different groups of rules, like smartphones and tablets in our case, and then we can define what qualifies as a smartphone. We can create different rules based on the specifications of each device, like screen widths, ranges of different screen widths, heights, orientation like portrait, landscape, aspect ratios, resolutions, type of matrix of the display, and so on. When we start specifying that, as you can see, Sitefinity would automatically generate CSS3 media queries which would define what would qualify as the kind of device that we would like to support. And as you can see, we have different devices listed here, ones with screens between 240 and 320 pixels wide, ones with 320 and 480 pixels, and bigger phones which have screens that are wide from 480 to 960 pixels. All these are customizable, and you can change that. You can add your own devices. And when you define what characteristics your devices should be determined by, then you can apply different behavior. As you can see, you can choose how our columns that we created in our website, how those should be rearranged. Like 2 columns can become 2 rows, 3 columns can become 3 rows, or different configuration like two rows with different amount of columns in each. This is how we can choose the behavior, how those columns would be rearranged, and let's see what the effect of that is. We have our content in here. Let's preview that for smartphones and tablets. And this is an iPhone, and this is how our website would look in a mobile device. As you can see, the image, the content, the news items, the gallery, and the events are all listed under each other in a single column on multiple rows. So this is how easily we can change how the content of our web page should be rearranged to fit on the screen of mobile devices. And one of the biggest benefits is that we don't have to create a duplicate page that would contain that content. We just create one page, manage that, and get that rearranged to fit on different devices. And that's how we have the same page also fit nicely into our iPad, for example. As you can see, we have two columns here, and we have enough real estate on this screen, so we can fit both columns on the same screen. However, we have transformed our three columns in our original page to two columns and multiple rows, because that's exactly what our rules for tablets is. Three columns should be transformed like this. And that's exactly why we have that sort of transformation. I hope that makes sense, and you can see how you can change that behavior and you can rearrange the content. You manage just one page and have that displayed on multiple devices, and it fits neatly in there. So let's publish our page, and we are almost good to go. One thing that I should definitely mention is that you can have different behavior. Apart from transforming the layout, which is one option to support multiple devices and have the same content, you might want to have different behavior. You might want to have different experience for different users with different mobile devices. So take a look at Google Maps, for example. They have one interface for the maps on desktop device. They have that kind of interface in there that you can zoom in and out. However, if you're on a mobile device, if you are opening Maps Google.com, that would clog your phone. That costs quite a lot of traffic. So what Google have done is they have created a completely different behavior with just a search box and a few shortcuts for being able to locate nearest restaurants, near bars, cafes, and so on. That's again something that you could do with Sitefinity. If you want to provide different behavior only for the users of a specific device, like smartphones, you can create a specially created website for those guys and have users with smartphones that are accessing your website to be dynamically forwarded to this mobile version. Right? So that covers some part of most of the mobile stories out there. Let's go back to our backend. Let's take a look at our page. Yeah, that's beautiful. Let's just refresh on the front end. I think we published it, so now our new landing page should be right there in our top navigation. So one thing that I wanted to show you is how you can create custom content types. That was asked by quite a lot of you guys today. You have the built-in content types, the built-in modules that you can use to manage all those different content types, such as news, blogs, events, and so on. What happens though if you'd like to create a custom content type, something that you would like to use to manage different entries in there? For example, for our website that has different devices, it's an online shop, you could create another content type for listing of your resellers. So if you'd like to see your resellers, or if you'd like to extend your reseller network and easily manage that, you can create a new custom content type. And this is something that you can do straight from the UI. You don't have to touch a single line of code. And this is how it works. We will go under administration, go to the module builder, and this is how you would be able to create a new module. We can just go ahead, create a new module. I'm going to call it Quantum Resellers. And here I can define what fields that module should have. So let's take a look. Content type should be reseller. And here we can define the fields. We can have title. We can have, let's say, description, which can be short or long text. And as you can see, we can choose what interfaces we would provide our users for entering data in that field. It can be rich text editor, it can be text area, or we can even define our own custom field. Either an ASCX custom user control or a custom control that is built into a DLL. In this case, we'll use the rich text editor. Hit continue. We can provide some instructional text. We can make this field required. We can make it localizable, and so on and so forth. Let's add a few more. We can add, so we have title, description. We can add a field like image or video or documents that should be attached to that content item. We'll use the image selector to provide interface for uploading images. I'll call that field photo or photos. And here we can apply limitations. Should only one image be uploaded or selected, or can multiple images be uploaded or selected with that content type? Well, let's choose multiple images. All right. Let's add a few more. I can add classification, which can be categories, tags, or any custom classifications that we have created. And we have different interfaces for that type of taxonomy. Let's add this in. We can also add tags really quickly. And let's add one last field, which we'll call address. We'll just go here, choose the address type, which is our implementation of Google Maps. Now we can choose the interface widget for entering the data. It could be address and a map. We'll continue, and for entering address, we can use address form only, map only, or both. Address form and a map. So we'll choose that. And this is the type of module that we have just created in our CMS. This is the type of fields that we will be able to populate with data when creating new content items. So we just finish, and that actually creates our module. Now, I have a treat for the developers out there. What Sitefinity does additionally is it automatically generates a code reference that we can use to check how we can create and manage data programmatically. Let's just have the system restart to activate the module. Then, as you can see, we have full samples, both in C# and VBNet, how you can perform CRUD operations, how you can create, delete, get, and publish resellers right there. We have the new module that we have created fully documented in Sitefinity. All right, so really quickly, let's go ahead. I'm actually going to make some modifications there. I'm going to style that module a little bit. So let's go ahead and change the reseller listing. I'm going to add different fields in there. So let's take the photo. I'll drag and drop it here. Let's, well, I can leave the author. I think I'm good, actually. That's good enough. So let's go under content. We can see that our new module is listed right in there. We can open it up. And we don't have any resellers yet. So let's create a new one that opens our form which we can use to create our new content item. So let's call this one Greg K. Description, Sitefinity sales engineer that could resell quantum stuff. We can check photos. We can upload them right in here or use from already uploaded images. Let's look for Greg. I'll use my picture, plug it in here. I can apply categories. I can apply tags. I have just created 2 tags with the same, the same action. And here we can choose where this guy is located. We can select a country. In this case, let's go with Bulgaria. City, Sofia. Oops, just a second, we didn't save that. So that was Bulgaria. City, Sofia. Zip, I'll just put 1,000. Something like this. And as you can see, our map automatically located us. It actually shows exactly where I am right now. So let's go ahead. I will publish this content item. And we just created that new custom module which lists our resellers in the backend. And our business users can start populating that module with different content items. And now, another treat, if we go to pages, go to our new landing page that we created, we will see that now, along with the other modules, we have a new widget called resellers. If we drag and drop it here, it will provide a listing of our resellers straight in there. So it's as easy to publish content as that. And now quickly, eye candy for the mobile device users. What I'm going to do is quickly through the administration section, I'm going to go in the mobile app builder and I'm going to create a new mobile application that would allow me to use my cell phone to create and edit and read information from Sitefinity through my mobile device. So I'll just create my mobile application. I'll call it Quantum Resellers. I'll base this mobile application on our Quantum Resellers module that we created together, and I'll specify that this app allows me not only to read content but also to create, edit, and delete content in there. I'll choose what kind of icon I'd like to post in there. I'll choose this one. I'll quickly click create. And now I have 3 options. I can publish this in Sitefinity Box, which is a mobile application that we have already uploaded to the Android marketplace and the App Store, Apple App Store, and so on. You can publish this application within Sitefinity Box, and you can provide that specific application to any of your customers so that they will be able to read and edit information into our website. Then we have another product, Telbrick product called Icenium, which is an integrated cloud environment for development of mobile applications. You can of course download the application as a zip file and start editing that in your favorite IDE. Now I will modify the app in Icenium. I'll just choose my own Icenium profile. What I'm doing right now is I'm sending this application to my account in Icenium so that I can continue editing and developing this mobile application. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to test it out in the built-in emulator that we have in Icenium. So let's take a look. Our application is being uploaded to the cloud. It was uploaded just now. And now I'll start my local development environment of Icenium. All right, it's being started. Let's log in now. let me just quickly put my username and password right in there. Okay, that works. I'll log in, and what we should be able to see here is our Quantum Resellers application that we just created together. Let's take a look at that. I'll load it up. It is being loaded. And quickly, I will run it in a simulator. So what happens now? We have a hybrid application that was generated for us. And we can use that application in our emulator. I'll just log in. And I can see our resellers module right in there. As you can see, this is the content item that we created through our desktop. Now, we can browse this guy. We can see where he's located, his description, his photos, the categories, the tags that we applied, all the full, the full description. We can edit this guy, or we can just create a new one. Let's see. I'll create city, Boston, street, Lincoln Street 42. Zip code, for example, 02451. And country could be United States. State, that would be Massachusetts. All right. We can give this guy a title, Boston Quantum Store. Description, well, that can be something like, let's see. Let's just edit this guy. This is our Boston Quantum Store. Done. We can take photos, we can apply categories, we can apply tags, just like that. All right, so after we're done, all we have to do is just publish this guy. We have this already published, and now let's take a look at our website. Did you see what happened? We have our new Boston Quantum Store coming up on our website right in there. We were able to publish that into Sitefinity from our mobile device. If we go into the backend, take a look at our content items, it's not stores, let me just refresh that real quickly. Into our Quantum Resellers, we'll see our Boston Quantum Store that we created through a mobile device appearing within Sitefinity with all the content that we created in there. And this all comes built in. You don't have to move a finger to create all that functionality. Straight in there. Okay, let's move back. There are quite a lot of questions that I'm getting here in the questions box. I'll take some time to answer some of these. Now, we have a couple more minutes remaining. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show my project in our Windows Explorer. Now, as you can see, this is a standard ASP.NET Web application. You have the bin folder, we have the app data folder, we have web config file, and so on. We can directly open that application with Visual Studio. There is a CSproj file that's automatically generated for us. And if we do that, we can plug in our Sitefinity application right into our Visual Studio. And from here, we can create custom modules or controls straight away. Sitefinity works directly with these. You can just go ahead, add a new item, and if you would like to create a new widget, you can create a user control or just a standard class that you'd be using as a custom compiled control. That's not the end of it. With Sitefinity, you have the option to be able to automatically generate Sitefinity elements We have free Visual Studio extension that you can use for that purpose and create Sitefinity widgets, Sitefinity website templates, even MVC widgets with designers, different field controls, and so on and so forth. So all that you have to do is just create one of these. Sitefinity would create all the files and folders for you, and then you can start modifying these with the sample source code that we have in there and the full Sitefinity documentation. Right, let's take a look at the list of questions, which is quite long for now, and as many questions as we can, we'll be addressing these straight away. I can see that Lohit has been addressing some questions already.
Yeah, hey Greg, so we do have 2 minutes, so you are right on the time. We were supposed to finish it by 4, so we will be able to finish it by 4, but if the audience is okay, we can take maybe 5 to 10 minutes more and then try to go over these questions as much as we can, and then once we are done with the webinar, we will take a look at all the questions and then kind of write a recap blog post at telerikhelper.net, telerikhelper.net. So we'll write a recap blog post there. We'll try to address every questions with an answer. So if some of your question is not answered here, please don't mistake us, but it's just the interest of the time that we'll try to pick up some and then answer, and then some other things we'll put it in the blog post. So I'll try to be the guide for you, asking some of the questions, so maybe you can start answering them. First and foremost question somebody had asked was how Sitefinity is different from other CMS. So do you want to address that?
Absolutely. Well, you saw the ease of use of Sitefinity. I haven't seen another CMS that you can use to create pages that easily, to create content that easily, even to generate new custom content types, let alone the mobile story, the support for mobile devices and even the mobile web applications. Telerik is maybe the only vendor out there that has the capability to create functionality like that for you. So that, because we have quite a lot of different divisions that develop different products, we were able to take the best of Telerik and plug it into Sitefinity. So you have open access, the ORM that Sitefinity uses for interaction with different databases. That's how we can support SQL Express, SQL servers, MySQL, Oracle. We have Icenium that you can use to generate those mobile applications and plug them into Sitefinity and then edit those. We have the Telerik RAD controls, Kendo UI, HTML5 tools that are built into in the CMS, and that's how we achieved all those tremendous functionalities that you can use for building your website and your different web applications.
Thank you. So there's one question which is related to licensing, but it's more on the terms of the deployment. So I thought it's better to answer this out. So this is how many servers can be supported in one license. So for example, this is a website. So how does it work in terms of the licensing?
Sure. Sitefinity does not care about the number of servers that you use. Sitefinity has a mechanism to communicate with between different servers. So if you have installed Sitefinity on 10 or 12, 20 or 30 servers, it does not affect the licensing. You only have to have the load balancing support enabled so that the different servers can communicate between each other. That is done for performance and cache and validation. Still, it does not affect the license if you have 10 or 100 servers. You still need the same license, no changes all there. That's a great differentiator between Sitefinity and other CMSs.
Well, that's rightly put out. So I have one more question, which is very generic, but I kind of like this. So whom do you target as potential customers, in terms of the Sitefinity? One who is dealing with technical content, which is mostly coding, or one who is into publishing content? So what space is Sitefinity in is, I think, what they're trying to understand.
Well, Actually, Sitefinity is a winner on all fronts. As you can see, we
Okay.
have quite a lot of big companies relying on Sitefinity. We have uh, companies that are using Sitefinity for SharePoint front ends because SharePoint is not so easy to use. We have companies that are using Sitefinity for their extranets, Sitefinity being used for their intranets, or for some really specific projects. We have the I think, let's see, it's an airport in Ireland which uses Sitefinity for air traffic control. I mean, Sitefinity can be used in very different projects, and it's a winner on all fronts.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't know that, air traffic controller were using the Sitefinity. That's great to know.
Absolutely. It's
And we
amazing.
have many questions. Yeah, we have many questions regarding, use of third-party controls for, let's say, maybe a customization, or I'm creating new stuff in Sitefinity. Can I use a third-party control? For example, one of the audience was saying they want to use iText Sharp, which is a PDF. At runtime you can create PDF using iText Sharp. So the question is more on, how is it easy to, pretty much use this third-party controls with Sitefinity?
Absolutely. Just plug in your DLL in the Sitefinity bin folder, reference to it, and then you can start using that library for generating PDF or some other functionality. You can start referencing that in your code. Use that to achieve your business goals. You can create your custom widgets, custom modules using that third-party logic. It's right there. Sitefinity is extremely flexible and open so that you can extend it any way you want.
Okay. So there was one question where the gentleman asked, how can we show the data, that is, get a data from database, and should we code in .NET, or how is it? So I said, like, yes, we have, like, this is ASP.NET, so we can do it. So maybe can you elaborate, like, if somebody has this situation where I have a database, I have put some data in a table, now using Sitefinity, I want to just pretty much go connect and then show the data.
Well, let me give you a demo. I'll go quickly create a new item, and I'm going to create a web user control, calling it data grid. Guys, can you confirm, can you see my screen right now? I'm just doing
I
it
can.
in a standard .NET way. I'm going to take either a red grid or the standard .NET grid control. I'll just plug it here in this user control that I'm creating. I am creating a control that will work outside of Sitefinity without any problems. So it's, it's not related to Sitefinity anyway. That is to just give you an example how flexible and extensible Sitefinity is. I can create that control right in here, and I can plug it into my system straight away. So really quickly, what I'm doing here is I'm creating that new control. I can bind it to an external database, and I can have this control be part of my Telerik toolbox, my Sitefinity toolbox, so that I can start drag and dropping that control throughout my pages anywhere. So you can go on with the rest of the questions while I'm just completing that control. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think one of the other interesting question has been hardware requirement. Basically, since we are going to be using this on a server, so is there any specific requirements in terms of the server itself, or can you comment on those things?
No specific requirements. Sitefinity is a .NET 4 platform, so what you need to do is you need to make sure that you have .NET 4 support on the server. So that means IIS server 6 and above. You need some sort of database server like SQL, SQL Express, Oracle, or MySQL. And then that's you need to make sure if you're running on shared hosting, you need to make sure that you have full trust environment. Basically, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, that's simple. As easy as any other .NET web application then.
Absolutely.
Okay, let me... Yeah, there's one question. It's an interesting question. Will Sitefinity website run on Safari installed on Mac systems?
A Sitefinity website will run on any browser. It's cross-browser compatible, and it's up to you to define, for example, the front end if you are building widgets that include Silverlight or Flash, it's totally up to you. We have not bound you to use any of these. If you use those, just be careful for the cross-browser compatibility. If you don't use such technologies, it will be absolutely cross-browser compatible. The front-end design and development is entirely up to you guys. The back-end is completely cross-browser compatible.
Okay, here's another interesting question. The login to Sitefinity website, can we delegate it to, let's say, an OpenAuth kind of thing? That is, I want to log in using maybe a Google or Yahoo, etc. in the particular site.
There are mechanisms to do that. Sitefinity is using standard .NET authentication, and it can be overridden.
Okay.
There are a few dependencies, so if you have any specific questions and cases on that, you can contact us. We have done this for a number of companies already.
Cool. So Dinesh, I think you had this question. So yes, we do support it, but yeah, there's a little bit of things that needs to be done, not out of the box, because this is working on a standard forms authentication. Yeah, and another interesting question that I've been seeing from the audience was performance. Like, you're basing this on ASP.NET. People have this notion that ASP.NET is slow or it's not performant. So do you have any comment on this? Like, since we have based everything on ASP.NET, how is the performance of Sitefinity's, the websites built using Sitefinity?
I would say that performance is awesome. You can take a look. We have some really good examples. Websites that were perfectly optimized. For example, Blackstone.com and so on. Telerik.com and Sitefinity.com are based on Sitefinity, so you can check the performance there. It's all about administration. It's all about configuring your web application to be optimized, and they will give you great results.
Yeah, I think you made a very good point. So, folks, the audience, if you are wondering, give me a real-world use case or a scenario where Sitefinity has been used. The whole of Telerik.com is on Sitefinity. We dog food our own stuff. The complete Sitefinity.com, the Telerik.com, everything has been built and up to date with the Sitefinity's latest and greatest whatever we have. So we dog food that, so we know what's happening. As you can see, Greg is now showing Aston Martin. Those of you who have seen James Bond movies, you will understand what an Aston Martin is. So this whole website is on Sitefinity. As you can see, it's generated by Sitefinity 5.4, but it's using our platform. So that's as real world it can get to.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Greg. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to wrap up with that example. I just created a new widget right in front of your eyes. It was a standard ASP.NET control that I plugged into Sitefinity really quickly. It took me like 5 minutes to do so. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the new landing page that we generated. And as you can see, there is a new section called Custom India Data Grid. Now I can just drag and drop that widget, and it would pull a custom grid that is populated with data that is coming from a third-party database. I was able to do that in a matter of 5 minutes, and this is standard .NET technology, absolutely not related to Sitefinity, which means that you can create any custom controls, plug those into Sitefinity, and they will work straight away. You can drag and drop them throughout your pages.
Yep. So I think we're going to be giving you 5 more minutes to log your questions.